So a lot of people wonder, what should I look for in a divorce attorney? Probably the most important thing is finding somebody that you can communicate with. The first part of communication is that you feel that you are able to talk to this person. When you're getting a divorce, you're going to be exploring very personal parts of your life, and in order to represent you, you're going to need to be able to tell that attorney, that person, perhaps things that are embarrassing or maybe things that are uncomfortable to talk to, problems with the child, mental health issues, alcoholism, abuse. You need somebody that you feel like you can talk to about this without being judged. Somebody who's going to listen to you and hear your perspective. So someone that you're comfortable with. You also need to be able to listen to the person who you're picking as your attorney. Some people are hard to listen to, other people talk more your language. So someone who you can listen to, somebody who you can understand, approach, debate, question, and explore various topics. Communication is probably singularly the most important quality in your attorney-client relationship. The next thing you need to have is really confidence in the attorney. So when you're looking for an attorney, you want to pick somebody who you believe is able to be an attorney. So listening to you and understanding you is one thing, but you want to make sure that that attorney is knowledgeable. If you're looking for a divorce and your concern, say, is child custody, in your very first encounter with that attorney, talk about child custody, how experienced they are, what the attorney thinks the probable or possible outcomes in your case are. So the attorney would say, I think that you would get custody because, and give you reasons that you understand and it sounds right. But an attorney who sounds confident in what they're saying, I don't know, may be as knowledgeable as giving an answer, depending on the circumstances. So it's elusive, but at the same time, it is important that you have confidence in that attorney and the attorney is able to represent you. So you talk about the particular issue in your case and see how the attorney responds. If the attorney responds in such a way that they understand what you're saying and may propose an approach, how you would go about obtaining your goal, and so forth. That's a very important part of your first interview with the attorney. When you begin the divorce process, people come to my office, all different situations. Maybe they have already been served with divorce papers and they're reacting to that, or they may be looking to just initiate the divorce process. The scenarios are all different, but the way you approach the divorce is something that's personal to you. Some people are going to be more aggressive. They're going to want to go straight to court and not have a conversation. Depending on your circumstances, mediation might be a great way to go, or starting with a settlement proposal. You need to be comfortable with how you approach that. You can't be railroaded by your attorney into taking a particular approach. It should be more of a team type of working relationship. So you may not have an idea, and you may say, I don't know how to go about this. And what your attorney should do then is explore the different alternatives, how you can approach it, how you go about it. And in that conversation, you should be able to discern, this is what the attorney would prefer to do, or the attorney wants me to do, and decide whether you're comfortable with it. Perhaps after exploring 4 or 5 different approaches, you may lock in on one. Talk about that with the attorney and see if that attorney is going to say, yes, I think that sounds right for you, or this is why it's not right for you. If you can get that kind of dialogue and understand what the approach is going to be, that will give you a better attorney-client experience. So the approach that your attorney has, how aggressive the attorney is, how conciliatory, can the attorney negotiate, all of that is important and should be explored in your first interview with the attorney before you sign a retainer agreement. You should feel that the attorney is on your side. Sometimes that's just not the case, but you need to feel that that attorney is not only on your side, but can represent your side, is listening to you clearly enough, and responding to you in a way that gives you confidence that your interest, your goals, and so forth are going to be represented by this attorney because they have listened to you and they understand you. When you find an attorney that you can communicate with, that hears you and that you can talk to, the next consideration, which is equally important, is how experienced that attorney is. And you can have an attorney who's practicing 30 years, but if they just started practicing family law in the last year or two, their 30 years of experience is not that meaningful to you. So you need to ask, how much family law do you do? What percentage of the work that you do? How long have you been doing that? And if your particular issue is alimony or child custody, ask about that specifically. How often have you gotten custody rights for a dad? How often have you successfully defended against an alimony claim? These questions should be insightful or particular to your case. Figure them out ahead of time, but make sure your attorney has experience with the issues that are going to be relevant in your divorce. That's not the only reason you want an experienced attorney. An experienced attorney who's practicing a long time is going to know the judges in the courthouse. They're going to have an idea of what will happen in front of one judge versus another judge. They'll know the processes. You should be able to ask your attorney, well, how do we start? Or what should I expect? How long will this take? An experienced attorney is going to be able to prepare you for that. Maybe it's going to take a year. A divorce can take a long time. What do I expect? Will I actually have to participate in a trial? You may. If it's contentious, you more likely than not will. And if you're going to participate in a trial, that's another consideration. Do you think this attorney can represent you in a trial? In the communication, in this whole mix of things, you need to make sure your attorney is talking candidly to you. Is not going to sugarcoat something because an attorney should want you to really understand what your strengths are, what your faults are, and needs to tell you like it is so that you don't have false expectations. Somebody who's realistic. You need to do that sound check. It's an internal thing. So you need an attorney who's going to speak frankly to you. And you need to be able to accept that kind of conversation from that person. So if you find somebody that you can work with, that's experienced, and that you can communicate with, the next thing that you would do is you would ask that attorney a series of questions and see how they answer it. One of the first questions, as I probably already said, is how much family law have you practiced? How long have you been doing that? What are your thoughts about this issue? You might want to and should ask, is mediation a reasonable alternative? What's the possibility of this case settling? If it settles, what do you think the reasonable parameters are? And you might want to talk about the reasonable parameters of the various issues that are at play in your case, like child custody or alimony, maybe division of retirement assets, or what's going to happen with the family home. These questions are important. You should write them down, and they should be part of your first interview with the attorney. I think it's a good idea to talk to 2 or 3 attorneys, even if you're paying for a 1-hour consultation for each one of them. But you find an attorney that you're comfortable with and that you can communicate with. At this office, one of the things we do is we offer a free 15-minute telephone conversation. And it's my hope I try to bring in some of these aspects. I talk frankly, I try to hit on the issues, and I try to give an idea of what approaches I would take or prefer to take in that case. The reason I'm doing that is to give you a chance to evaluate me and decide if you're able to work with me. I wish you a lot of luck in this journey and a lot of luck in the interview process.